My amplified unit on this Friday morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world, salute. It's time to wake up, get up, and get amplified. We have a packed show for this Friday. We're going to talk Ronda Rousey heading over to the RAW brand. She's going to the red brand, and this sets up everything BC has been telling you guys about for WrestleMania with her and Baszler. Think about it. We're going to talk all about it coming up in this very video. We're also going to discuss in this vidcast Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. You ain't going to have to wait for them to link up. They already are. What is BC talking about? We'll discuss it in this very vidcast. And we're going to talk the Jeff Hardy situation, where the case looks to be closed, and Jeff Hardy looks to have somehow, this guy is like Houdini, how he escaped prison, but somehow he got another slap on the wrist. We're going to talk about it. It's not even a laughing situation, but it's just... I mean, what else can you do at this point? I mean, this is laughable how you can do the same thing over and over and over and over and just keep getting fucking slaps. And it's not like stealing a candy bar from a fucking store. This is real life big boy shit. We'll talk all about it coming up. And we're also going to discuss the outrageous Warner Media press release they sent out for the new reality show for AEW. They sent out a press release talking about how many viewers AEW brings in for them every Wednesday. And a gentleman by the name of Jason Sarlanis for Warner Discovery said that every Wednesday, Dynamite brings them 4 million viewers. 4 million of viewers every Wednesday. Now, last BC check, they can barely get a fourth of that. But... according to this, I mean, this set the whole pro wrestling world ablaze because we thought it was just a typo, or they thought nobody would notice, so they just kind of sent it out, swipe it underneath the rug. But no, this thing blew up within like hours. So when asked about it, we thought they would just say, yeah, we fucked up. You know, we meant almost 1 million every Wednesday. And instead, they just doubled down, and they said some weird shit. We're going to discuss it, guys, because this has to be talked about, because you can't fucking move the goalpost that wide. You know what I mean? I mean, it just seems like this is a company, and this is a network that just wants to... They just want to over-embellish everything, because they really want to be pulling in WWE type numbers, which, by the way, if they knew, that's nothing to really brag about either. SmackDown staying consistent, but I mean, WWE should be way higher as well right now. But it's almost like they're living in this fantasy world where every day we're hearing something new that's just embellished to another level, like Tony Khan saying they're in a real war with WWE. And their real competition that WWE is worried about, but WWE is pulling in 3 to 4 times their fucking numbers on fucking SmackDown, more than double on Monday Night Raw. I mean, don't you have to, get a little bit more next to their league to call yourself real competition. You can't just call yourself that. It's just weird how this guy really thinks he's in a war with the WWE, and I doubt very much that's what they're thinking right now when they're making their decisions. What is AEW doing? It's just not how Vince operates. Paul Levesque, I do feel like he doesn't like Tony Khan. Maybe he feels they're justified reasons, but I doubt he's making every little decision stemming from AEW. It's just weird. And then you see the network claiming that they're bringing in 4 million viewers every Wednesday. It's very fucking odd. Very weird, because we gave them a chance, right? People reached out to them and said, hey, you may want to debunk that. Take that away and maybe restate that, right? No, they doubled down. Wait till you hear the answer that they gave. How they came to 4 million viewers every Wednesday night. Wait till you hear this shit. You are not going to believe it. And It's just, can't they just earn shit on merit? Just get get those viewers organically, then brag about it, right? Can't we just get to certain things? AEW, their rating this week. Can't we do that naturally with great storylines and larger than life characters that people give a fuck about? Why do we have to start announcing big announcements to try to help that out? In fact, that's where I want to start out with, man. I'm going to start out with the AEW rating for this week. It's not that much of a shocker if you follow this channel. BC told you what they were going to hit because of the announcement. So let's talk about it. And that is where we're going to start after this big swig. AEW, and everybody came out of the woodwork after this number came out. So, we start with AEW Dynamite, which pulled in 1,028,000 viewers. Again, if you watch this channel, I told you in yesterday's video several times, that's what Tony Khan was absolutely aiming for. That's what he knew what he was doing when he took a simple press release and he said, you know what, we're going backwards. We're at 824,000. There's no NBA this week, literally no competition. The MTV Challenge, which beat them as well several weeks, was in a reunion show. Their season is over. So no competition. That's going to help us a little bit. That'll put us to maybe 850, 875. And if I claim this big announcement, that should pull me $1 to $1.2550. And he was aiming for that million, no question. All is fair in love and war. It's his company. Let's rock, right? And that's what he chose to do. He said, you know what? I'm going to take this simple press release for a reality show in pro wrestling. Look, we haven't had enough of those. Ms. and Mrs., Montez and Bianca's about to have one. Total Bellas, Total Divas, Roads to the Top. There's a bunch of them, right? And we're hearing that this show is going to focus around the relationships of Britt Baker and Adam Cole and Ty Conti Mello and Sammy Guevara. It's going to be relationship heavy. We're going to see their Valentine's Day, what they have in the morning, when they take their morning shit. Are they a morning or evening or both shower, right? Are you the type that wakes up and jumps in the shower? Do you wait at the end of the night? Do you do both? We're going to find out about all of this. This is exactly the content we've been waiting for. Said not many ever. But this is the press release that was going to be sent out. Tony Khan said, no, I'm going to keep that shit, and I'm going to say I got a big story to break. I got a big announcement. And that's what he did on Wednesday. And I told you guys yesterday, 6 hours before the ratings even came out, I said this is going to be a ratings grab. This is what we call it in the business, a ratings grab, a ratings ploy. It's in the entertainment industry. Pro wrestling is far from the first people to do this, in Tony Khan's defense. He's the first one I've seen in a long time to really abuse the privilege for a ratings ploy. But judging by the 825, the no direct competition at all, and the big announcement, BC said yesterday several times that he's looking for that million. And most likely we'll get it. I said yesterday he better hope he gets it, or he better look in the mirror and say, was all this worth it? But he did. He got the 1,028,000. Again, this is not a shocker because that's what that interest and intrigue will do. Now, there's some people that are funny. If you see the quarterlies, I don't have the full rap sheet on it, but I have enough info on it. I believe, if not the lowest, it was was the actual announcement itself from Tony Khan. That is exactly what the trajectory of AEW numbers would tell you guys. That's called the death spot right before the main event. Any week you can check out an AEW show like a Clorox wipe 99.99% of the time. The spot right before, the Q7, will be the lowest or biggest drop, I should say, lowest rated Q of the night. And usually that's why Tony Khan puts the ladies there, and that's why I call that a vicious cycle. The ladies really need quality time to show the audience why they should give a fuck about those ladies, and that they do rock, and that they are badass, and that they can intrigue and pull in ratings. So you're trying to do that, but Tony Khan keeps putting them into that death spot. Now, thankfully, that started to switch up. Last couple of months, I've seen that switch up a couple of times. He's not fully committed to moving the ladies around, but he puts them into that Q7 spot way too often, and mixed in with the fact that a lot of US fans especially don't really care about the ladies, unfortunately, and that is a shame. It's a recipe for disaster for Q7. So my point is, for those saying, well, it was the lowest rated segment, look at the entire Q by Q board. You have, if you're going to talk ratings, you have to know what you're talking about. The first 5 to 6 segments leading literally into the segment before the biggest drop, it was all an abnormality. They were all over a mil. There's going to be slight adjustments, obviously, but those were above the average to an abnormality, which means something sparked that was way more than no competition from NBA or MTV Challenge. There was above the normal for a spark, segment by segment, throughout the whole first hour into the second hour. That tells you there was a buzz and an interest above the normal. You're not going to tell me that Lee Moriarty and Big Cass, Big Bill, fucking pulled in over a mil on their own, or that Blue Sky, who I love Blue Sky. Blue Sky versus Saraya in her spray painting can for a 4.5-minute match was enough to pull over a mil simultaneously with Big Bill and Moriarty. You're not going to sell me that Jungle Boy was going to pull in over 1 million. And I liked all that flow, by the way. I thought Tony Khan, in his defense, had a nice flow of WWE talent. I mean, here you see, if you're a casual fan, you got, that's Big Cass. Wait, that's Paige. Wait, there's Christian. I thought it was a good Bryan Danielson, right? I believe he started the second hour, something like that. It was him and the MJF. I mean, he had a nice flow. There's no question. And from the 824 last week with no direct competition, bump that to an 875, a nice flow. Maybe you got a good product going on, right? I'm not even saying this was a bad show. So maybe that 925, 950. The abnormality happens when you're way over 1 million segment by segment, and there's no clear indication that any of this would have been such. So what does BC mean? Let me explain some more. When you have buzz, when you have interest, this is what you will see. I promise you guys, I've been following this shit way before ratings were a cool thing to talk about, or some people still don't think that ratings matter. Ratings are shit. Why do we even talk about it? Let's just enjoy wrestling. Well, that's not this channel. We love ratings and we love numbers, statistics, metrics, because it makes us smarter. It makes us know why things are happening, why a network is canceling a show, why they're re-upping a contract, why an hour is being added to Monday Night Raw. We know this shit because we follow along. We smarten ourselves up. So what happens, guys, when you have this type of announcement, this is why I said this right when the announcement was made last week that there was going to be a big announcement. I said, oh, here we go. They're going for the 1 million, and good for them. That they need a boost. And they're going to take the cheap way out because they don't have a really intriguing storylines that have people at the edge of their seat for Revolution. Now, this past Wednesday did a lot better for that, right? But leading into this past Wednesday, there wasn't much. So now you create this big buzz. You see over the first 5 to 6 segments, you're above the average by an abnormality number, okay? And that is segment by segment. The viewers are thinking it's a big announcement. It's going to be made at the top of the show or near it, right? So you lead all the way through the first hour and there's still nothing. They're like, okay, we're going to get it in the second hour, right? Top of the second hour. Okay, MJF and Bryan Danielson, that was kind of fun. Okay, now they're going to announce it, right? And and that's why you see the abnormality, man. All of those segments were higher. Now you get to the Q7. Tony Khan, even though you can call him what you want to call him, he's smart enough to know he is strategic as fuck. He knew that he couldn't deliver, right? The hype took on a life of its own because of him. He went on podcasts talking about this. He talked about this big announcement, and then he didn't say a word about it the entire Dynamite, knowing that people are going to have to stay tuned. Until the point where you're finally in that Q7 segment, which is exactly what we talked about a few minutes ago. It's the death segment. It's the death quarter, right? That's where you usually put the ladies in. It's the bathroom break. It's where people go, oh, there's only one thing left. It's the main event. I don't really care about that. I'm going to change the channel. And then they hope that the main event will bring back some viewers or bring in new viewers, right? Because it's a main event. And that's usually what we see, a huge drop off. And then some people come back for Q8. So Tony Khan knew this. There's a reason he snuggled himself deep into the Q7 segment while not announcing a word about the announcement the entire show. There's a reason for that. He knew people were going to jump off the program, and he was more than okay with that at that point. Less people to call him out on the bullshit and expose that bullshit because it's a non-story. It's a press release that he was his big announcement. He knew that, so he softened the blow. I mean, he got out of Dodge in 10 seconds with Renee and brought in Adam Cole and then had to fucking double down with a second announcement so people will not be so pissed off. He's like, and Adam Cole announced that you're going to wrestle that night too, right? That's a big announcement. So that's why. So anybody that goes, well, it was the lowest rated segment, so that had no effect on the rating. You have to learn how ratings work, bro. You're not telling me that the first 5 to 6 segments had an abnormality that was above the average to a fucking ludicrous amount. Over 1 million per fucking seg. You're not telling me that was because there was no buzz and no interest for a big announcement. And he strategically placed himself into the Q7 segment, knowing that that's gonna be the biggest drop. By then, even the people waiting for the announcement go, well, it's not coming. The main event is next. There's nothing more. They never even announced the announcement. And they were just like, fuck this shit, bro. I ain't watching your fucking main event. It's what people do every week anyway. And this was just people even more pissed because they never got the announcement. And when they were never even told a word about it throughout the show, they were like, oh, they're not even doing it. This didn't surprise me one fucking bit, this number. I told you yesterday, there's no doubt they're going to be about that million. If they fail to hit 1 million, it would be about 980, 990, the lowest. Still wouldn't be that great, I understand. But, I mean, he's just going for the mill. Whether it's 20,000 less or it's 20,000 more, he's going for the mill, and he clinched it. Absolute fucking applause, man. All is fair in love and war. I get it. I hate the fact that there's an asterisk on this million, because I didn't think that was such a bad show, to be honest. It would have been really cool to see how it stood on its own ratings-wise if we didn't have the announcement bullshit. I still think each segment could have possibly pulled 950, 975, and then we see where we end up. You know, what would have been in the Q7. I don't know. It would have been cool to not have this asterisk. But there is. But like I said, all is fair in love and war for Tony Khan, and he didn't have the storylines to really captivate the audience. The rating was going backwards, and he had to come up with something really big on the fly, snap of a finger that could get him 200,000 viewers somehow. I'll tell you something that's going to help. One of your fucking big announcements, and that helped. Anybody that does not think that just because it was the lowest rated in the snuggled Q7 death spot, look at the rest of the show before that. That's called intrigue. Over time, yeah, people are going to go, oh, this announcement's not coming, I'm out. They stuck around into the second hour, though, until they finally reached near the main event, and they're like, all right, this thing's not, they didn't even say anything about the announcement. And now there's just an Evil Uno main event. Now, to Evil Uno's credit, man, people came back, though, or people that were flicking through that didn't watch the first hour 45. They saw fucking this chubbier dude doing fucking somersaults and moonsault, whatever the fuck this dude was doing. Evil Uno was drawn, bro. Now there's a big, everybody's laughing online saying Evil Uno draws. Evil Uno is the new demo god. Which is the funniest part in all this, to put a bow on this, because, listen, they got the million. Listen, I just hope this continues, but on its own merit, with storylines and such, larger-than-life care, put together really good segment after segment after segment, really good shows, consistently, and let's start fucking around with 1, 2, 1, 3 ratings in the future. There's no reason we should be going the next couple of months back into the 900,000s or even 800. And this is the funniest part. Whenever they hit 1 million, AEW just comes to life on like online, social, whatever. Tony Khan reemerges. Right? He pops up from out of the ground like a groundhog. And he's like, thank you everyone who watched Dynamite. 1 million viewers. And it's funny because he never thanks his audience if it's under a fucking million. Or very rarely anyway. He just doesn't do it. So it's like, what? Are you only thanking the million plus? And anybody who watches when it doesn't hit 1 million, you're not going to thank them? They don't matter? And then you got Chris Jericho. He came out within the last, once the ratings were issued, Jericho went to social and he's like, yeah, baby, we're back on top. The demo god, blah, blah, blah. I think he's just having more fun with it than anything. But it's just funny to see Jericho. I mean, everybody starts talking about the ratings once it's in their favor. It's always hilarious. It's like all this AEW talent pops up from underneath the ground like it's like Groundhog Day. Boop, boop, boop. That Tony Khan pops up. Fucking Jericho pops up. Everybody's popping up from underneath the ground. They're all seeing if they see their shadow. If they see their shadow, it's back underground for 6 weeks of 900,000 viewership. Too funny, guys. Too funny, bro. So, listen, you got to have a laugh with it, man. The announcement absolutely did this. There's no question. Add on to the fact that they had no direct competition at all. That gives them a bump over the fucking million, 28,000 more, something like that. So listen, if you're conning the boys and the gals, rock this shit. Listen, I think it's a shady way to do business, but all is fair in love and war. Take that shit and go in the next week. You got a big pay-per-view coming up on the, what is that, the 5th? 5th Revolution, March 5th. Listen, keep rocking, man. There's no player hating on this channel, right? We rip shit apart for justified reasons, but we always want to see everybody succeed. So fucking do it. You got $1 million. No matter how you got there, what is done is done. Now, you better start rocking that shit. Take that $1 million, take it to 1.1. Then I want to see 1.2 because you got the talent to do it. You got the money to do it. You got the TV network that's willing to fucking put it all on the line for you. You can bleed every fucking match 16 times a match. You can do everything you want. There's no reason you should be fucking around with 800 and 900,000 in viewership. There's no reason you should be doing shady big announcement of announcements. There's no reason you should be talking about a new debuting WWE star at this point. You got everything you need. Now rock that shit. Salud. Now, do you guys want to stick with the rating talk or go over to WWE? Because there's some big stories going on there, man. The Jeff Hardy court case seems to be closed. Ronda Rousey's going to the Raw brand. Sami and Owens are already a tag team, whether you know it or not. There's a lot to talk to. Fuck, man. All right, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do more. We'll do the ludicrous Discovery Warner press release and what they're claiming for Dynamite. We'll do that in a little bit. Let's go over the Ronda Rousey thing first. Ronda Rousey headed to the Raw brand. We are hearing this Monday night. Now, that's not supposed to be an actual public roster sheet switch. That's not supposed to be a switch, but she is staying there for the foreseeable future. So what that's telling us, it'll start this Monday. And then she'll obviously win the tag titles with Shayna at Mania, and then she's just going to be pulling dual-branded events. I don't know if she's going to be working SmackDown a lot less, but what we're hearing is that Ronda is going to be staying mostly on the red brand going forward. Now, some people think, okay, she's internally listed to be on Raw this Monday, but maybe that's going to be a dark match. I don't see why that would even be the case. You have to start this now for Mania. Baszler and Ronda need to cement where they stand now. You're going to have about 5 weeks before Mania. You got to start building everything right now. Say the same thing about my boy Bray Wyatt. What the fuck are you doing? This guy, we need to know what is he doing with Bobby? Why do you give a fuck about Bobby Lashley? Let's kick this into high gear. Everything needs to be laid out this Monday. Even tonight, they're probably going to not be on all cylinders. I said this week they're really they just need to refuel their tank from a huge week in Canada. SmackDown, I hope, is much better than Raw this Monday. But next week, I expect WWE to be in full fucking throttle mode on this road to WrestleMania. So it's the same thing with Ronda. If she's going to be on Monday, which is clearly what's happening, you gotta, this is it. Now, how do you play this game with Damage Control versus Lita and Becky Lynch? Because this Monday, a huge tag team championship match for the ladies. Lita and Becky Lynch versus Damage Control's Io and Dakota. Dakota still has a minor injury. That is actually not just storyline. There's reality to that as well. We don't know if she's even going to be able to go. Would Bayley have to step in? If she is ready to go, does Bayley interfere? This brings out Trish Stratus, who's been lingering for weeks, we've been hearing. They got something big with Trish Stratus planned for Mania, and she never showed up in Canada at all. So does this set up a 6-woman tag? And then where does this leave Ronda and Shayna for the tag titles? It just doesn't add up. Or do you do something where it's just Trish and Bayley's going to be one-on-one at Mania? Lita and Becky will win the tag titles, and that's when Ronda and Shayna strike and set up the program with Lita and Becky. That's a major tag team title match for WrestleMania. Ronda and Shayna versus Lita and Becky. Because, guys, I said this before on this channel in many vids, live streams, podcasts, you name it. I said you cannot have Damage Control versus Ronda and Shayna. None of them have been booked properly. It's heels versus heels, and nobody's going to give a fuck, sadly. And I think Io is one of the best female wrestlers on the world. I'm so high on Dakota Kai. I am a fan of Ronda Rousey, even though she's been booked like shit since her debut in WWE. And Shayna Baszler, I just feel so bad for. Should have had so much more than to be a fruit roll-up queen. Because Shayna Baszler only loses in less than 2 minutes via a roll-up in nearly all of her matches. None of them have been booked properly. It's sad to say that, but nobody would want to see that at Mania. You wouldn't need to see that tag team title match. It would still be non-existent division, non-existent tag titles, and non-existent matchups. That's what it is. Irrelevant is gone. These are non-existent. You put this on paper, and people just read right over it. Ronda and Shayna versus Damage Control Mania. They'll read right over it. It's not even irrelevant anymore. It's non-existent. They just totally act like it's invisible. That's not good. So you're going to have the titles on like a Lita and a Becky, and that's how Ronda and Shayna are going to lead into something big. I don't know how they're going to do this. We're hearing that Trish Stratus is still lingering and needs to be put in play. We're hearing that Rousey is going to the red brand as soon as this Monday. So now she's in play. And you have this big tag title match, and Bayley still needs something as well. You have a lot of females right now with a lot of different ways you could go. Where you put these puzzle pieces next is going to matter. If one goes in the wrong place, the whole puzzle will be off kilter. You know, it's like one of those, what do you call it, Jenga, when you keep taking a piece out and you hope that the whole thing doesn't crumble down. Well, your moves that WWE make next, it's going to matter, because one piece that comes out the wrong way, that whole tower's going to come crumbling down. That's all I can say. It's the best analogy I could give you. If one piece is moved the wrong way, the whole thing can come down. You have a lot of possibilities here. There's a lot of intriguing ways you can do this, and one false move could actually make every piece just irrelevant or just bad. And you could have a couple of good WrestleMania matches, or you could have ones that we just are like, why is this even happening? It makes zero, like Omos versus Brock Lesnar. So this is huge. It may not seem that big. Okay, Ronda's going to the red brand. It's bigger than you think, because this Monday's decisions of what we do just became amplified. Moving on, let's stick with WWE. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Big news here. Now you see, storyline-wise, Kevin Owens rejected the offer of Sami Zayn to link up and take down the Bloodline. Owens wants to be on his own, doesn't want nothing to do with Sami. He says, hey, but if you need anybody, call your side chick, Jey Uso. But what we're hearing now, advertisements are already being made for Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens to be a tag team at live events to take on Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. So they're already linking up. You got to believe when you do this shit at live events, it's not just to pull the crowd revenue, right? Get the fan interest. It's a live event. Don't worry about it. Nobody will know. No, not these days. Everybody's gonna. Dirt sheets are gonna fucking have it. Videos will be fucking linked up. You name it. So, of course, we're going to know about it. This is for them to iron everything out between Sami and Kevin. They're really going to start to fucking get their groove. And by WrestleMania, I truly believe Usos versus Sami and Kevin for the tag titles. I think that's where they're going to go. And I think that's brilliant, because you're keeping Sami out of Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns' match. That should not be a triple threat. Nobody wants it. Roman does not want it. Cody doesn't want it. And Sami doesn't even want a triple threat. They've already said that. in their own ways. And I'm pretty sure most of the fans do not want to see Cody and Roman's waters muddied. And to be honest, Roman and Sami should have their own thing anyway. If you want to run that match back in the future, I'd love to see it. If you want to do it at Mania, fine, but keep it one-on-one. So the fact that they're already tagging up before the storyline on TV has them linked up, because Owens rejected Sami, but they're already coming together now to have that tag match, that tells us that it's more imminent than you think, and they're most likely setting this up for WrestleMania. Now, this leads to a bigger question now. What do you do with Jey Uso? Right, Jey Uso, guys, there's so many ways you can go with this. Does he turn his back on the bloodline? Because then you can set up so many intriguing matches. Jey and Jimmy in 2023 with a better storyline than they've ever had one-on-one is magnificent. Solo versus Jey, you could build that up so fun. Of course, we already know Jey and Roman would be fucking electric. Now, you say we kind of saw this already before the bloodline started, BC, with Usos at odds with Roman. True, but this story has taken on so many twists and turns with one of the best roller coaster rides we've ever been on in pro wrestling that I think this is a time where this would work beautifully, just like it did at the start of Roman Reigns' heel turn. This would just like fall in their lap. It's just don't fuck it up. It's one of those scenarios where you can't fuck it up. So you could clearly go Jey Uso as a face, help Sami and Owens. And you know, you have a little 6-man tag, and I hate schmazes, but it makes sense, right? Kevin, Sami, and Jey versus Jimmy, Solo, Roman. I mean, obviously that makes sense as well. There's so much you could do. On the flip side, you say, well, does it make sense? Jimmy and Jey are tag champs. What do you do with the title? Does Solo Sikoa fill in for Jey, and Solo's now going to defend the tag titles at Mania with Jimmy? No, Solo should have his own fucking match, obviously, at Mania. Really build that young man up because he's going to be something special in this business. So what do you do with Jey is my point. At WrestleMania, it looks like it's going to be Usos, Sami. It looks either way. It looks like Sami and Kevin are going to get the titles at Mania. So who the fuck are they taking on? Jey is going to have to make a decision soon, right? He's going to either have to finally just turn on Sami, and maybe this brings out Owens because the beating on Sami is so bad that fucking Owens has to save him, and that finally leads to them linking up. Because I don't see how Jey... The titles are going to Sami and Owens, it looks like. I don't know. Does Solo fill in? Does Jey turn on Jimmy during WrestleMania, and that's how Sami and KO get the titles? I don't know. I don't think he would just turn on his brother realistically, unless Roman was out there, and I don't see him out there during a Mania match before his main event. Unless Solo is help. There's so many questions, bro, and that's why we love this shit. That's why we're going to follow along. That's why we're going to watch WrestleMania. But this shit is starting already with Sami and Kevin linking up, so I think they're going to kind of fast track that. Maybe even tonight. Maybe tonight's SmackDown, you see something happen with Owens and Zayn where they finally link up sooner rather than later and really kick this into high gear. But that's big news on that front. Where do you guys want to go now? Do you want to go Jeff Hardy? I'm going to speak briefly on this because this is one of those things I just don't understand. We all love Jeff Hardy for justified reasons, right? He's a genuinely good dude. Gave us so many years of entertainment. You know the dude's broken. You try to help him out, which is what everybody has tried to do for years and years, and he just doesn't understand. And he keeps doing the definition of insanity. Keep doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting a different result. So he keeps drinking a lot, jumping into a car, either crashing his car or just racking up DUIs time after time after time after time on suspended licenses, goes to court, has to fucking be on a initial probation, gets a slap on the wrist, gets more probation, says his license is revoked for longer, which he doesn't care about because he keeps driving on a suspended license, and the process repeats itself. And it's guys, this is what Matt Hardy has an update on his brother. His court case was closed because Jeff Hardy pled no contest. He's going to serve no jail time at all. Once again, not like this is the first time he's done this, second time even, third time. Once again, driving on a suspended license drunk. And he's once again not serving any time. He's just going to have his driver's license suspended for 10 years, and he will be on probation for 2 years. But his license was already suspended. What the fuck is that? How is that? That is like disobeying your parents, getting your PlayStation taken away, and you're grounded for 2 weeks. You break your ground, you do something else to disobey your parents, and they say your PlayStation is still gone. Well, my PlayStation was already gone, doesn't matter. Oh yeah, well it's gonna be gone for 2 more weeks. Oh, shucks. If I just keep fucking doing what I'm doing, who gives a shit? Every time they just say, okay, well your license is still suspended. It didn't stop him before. He doesn't give a fuck about that card, bro. He just gets drunk, he jumps in. For several months, he's clean, he shows everybody he's back to life, he's good, and everybody goes, I'm so proud of him, and we go, yeah, let's bring him back to wrestling, where his body will get beat up, and he'll need some more fucking pills or booze to fucking ease his fucking broken body, because that's what he even admits. And we turn a blind eye, right? Everybody turns a blind eye. Oh, I'm glad it's over, let's bring him back to AEW, let's see the Hardys back. This poor guy is fucking, I can't even say poor guy. I mean, at what point, even though we love the dude, at what point do you just gotta say, bro, you're being selfish? You can't be on the roads drunk as fuck when you've already been told. He's gotten lucky. Do you know how fortunate Jeff Hardy is that he didn't fucking kill somebody? Do you know how fortunate he is that he didn't take somebody's fucking life on those roads? Because he didn't just get DUI after DUI. He's crashed cars. He has crashed motor vehicles, and luckily not into another vehicle. I think it was into a guardrail, into a fucking telephone pole, something like that. He has gotten lucky. He has gotten just DUI'd and said, and people thought, okay, you're going to go away for a year or two. You know, you got to be punished, right, guys? I mean, if you collect 4 or 5 DUIs and you're driving without a license time after time, eventually, just like you, me, anybody, we would go, right? Any Joe Schmo would go to jail, right? You go to prison. Jail is just a weekend. Prison, you're there for a year, 2, 4, 5, 10 years, whatever the fuck. So, at what point would Jeff Hardy just have to go away for it? It would suck. We love him, but we know it would be best for him, right? You have to be punished after a certain amount of being slapped on the wrist so many times and you're just not understanding, you don't give a fuck, and you're just being selfish, you gotta eventually get punished, right? What's odd to me is that this guy doesn't get punished. This guy gets slapped on the... He just drove again, drunk as fuck, no license, and they're like, okay, try not to do it again, okay? You keep doing it, man. This is 6 times now. I mean, it's sorry that I shouldn't even be fucking laughing. I mean, it is honestly, guys. I mean, at what point we said this about Sam? What's her fucking name? Tammy Cinch. Remember Sunny Days? She was doing the same thing. She actually went away a couple of times. They said, dude, you gotta, but it wasn't long at all. A few months, she was back out doing the same thing, suspended license. And the last time, they just gave her another kind of like a little slap, go away for a couple months, all right? And don't do that again. And guys, she just literally took someone's life. She evidently, she was drinking, got into a car, no license, smashed into the back of a car. 78-year-old man passed away. Something like that. So she wasn't as lucky. And if they just did... If they did their due diligence and just put her away for a few years, it was only going to help her and society. But no, they didn't do that. They gave her another slap on the wrist, and now somebody's fucking passed away. Taxpayers' money are going to this fucking stupid trial for Tammy, Sonny. Everybody loses. How many times does Jeff Hardy do this before we finally say, dude, just go away for 2 years. You have to. It's going to help you. For Jeff Hardy, it's going to help him. But no, as wrestling fans, we just go, okay, good, man. Can we get him back in AEW now? Can he have Hardy matches? Honestly, there comes a time, guys. Trust me, I've seen and been through this so many times. I have so many fucking friends. Unfortunately, a lot no longer here with us. Some that had to serve a lot of time, some that are still in. I'm telling you right now, sometimes the best case scenario is for these individuals to just, you got to be locked up. You got to be put away for your best. It's for you, even not just society. It's for you. And I think the best place for Jeff is probably in there. But Jeff Hardy is now once again fucking free to booze it up, jump into a car, and everybody on those roads. I'm being serious. This isn't even a joke. Everybody on the roads, be careful. Be careful, because if you think Jeff Hardy is the only one doing this shit, not even close. He's probably one of the only ones that get this many slaps on the wrist. But there's a lot of Jeff Hardy people that are just not celebrities, not big-time wrestling names. There's a lot of those people on the roads, and unfortunately, every day, every hour, it's taking lives. I've seen it firsthand. Been through it first. I have friends that are no longer even here. The stories I could tell you guys, earth-rattling. And I think that's why it's even more important for BC to remind you guys, just be careful when you hit the roads. It's not just what you're doing, right? Oh, I know I'm good. I know how to drive and this and that. I know what the rules are. It's the person coming from the other way. It's the person that's not looking. It's the person on their phone. It's the person that just had a fucking pint. The person that just had 4 beers and think he's good. It's just a little buzz. Those people. I always tell everybody, when you're on the road, it's everybody else you got to be cautious about. Because there's a lot of Jeff Hardys that are just, as much as we love Jeff Hardy, bro, selfish as fuck. And they don't understand that their actions, unfortunately, will affect so many others so negatively. I don't know how he got another slap on the wrist. This is absolutely pathetic. And I just hope, like we say every fucking time with this guy, I just hope he finally learned his lesson. Time will tell, and it will be only a matter of time before we hear the next fucking story. And we hope, once again, that it's just his car hit a guardrail and nobody else was involved. Sadly, that's what it's come to. What do you guys want to go to? Let's go to, what do we want to talk about? Let's go over to the Warner Media, Warner Discovery number. So apparently once the reality show for AEW, once Tony Khan broke this massive news, once he broke that, which was already broke, by the way, by Dirt Sheets way beforehand, but a week ago. But instead of sending the actual press release, he sat on it and made a big announcement and had people intrigued for the first 5 to 6 segments waiting on pins and needles. And then finally they said, all right, fuck this. There's only the main event left. I'm out. And that's why Q7 was so fucking low during the actual announcement. The rest of the fucking show, everybody was waiting. But this is what Warner Bros. Discovery sent out, man. And this was a quote by Warner. You ready for this? This is a quote. You got to listen to this, man. At first we thought it was just like a typo, and then we thought, oh no, they're just hoping nobody notices. They're trying to make this sound better. A quote by Warner Brothers. Warner Discovery. AEW has such an amazingly loyal and dedicated fan base that brings in more than 4 million viewers to TBS every Wednesday night, said Jason Sarlanis, president of Turner Networks. With All Access, we are bringing that incredible audience a whole new way to experience the wrestling universe they love. Oh, they're a universe, AEW universe now. We have a powerful partnership with Tony Khan and AEW. With this new series, we are expanding the franchise in a way that invites viewers inside the world of wrestling like never before. Well, actually, we have a lot of pro wrestling reality shows, bro. They're going to pull back the curtain so much, there's no more magic tricks that are going to be exposed that we need to see. We already know all the magic tricks and how we know how they're done now. Why would you keep pulling back that fucking curtain even more? Kayfabe is all but dead anyway. This show is just going to put the final fucking nail in the coffin. It's going to be a lot of relationship heavy, by the way, guys. Britt Baker and Adam Cole's relationship. Ty and Sammy Guevara's relationship. You're going to see their Valentine's Day. You're going to see how a life on the road. Them coming to AEW, what they eat in the morning. They're going to go into their workouts. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can get all that on the fucking interweb machine as it is. This is not BC's cup of coffee. I can get this type of material anywhere for all these wrestlers. But if it's your cup of coffee, here you go. After Dynamite, there you go, man. But here's the news here, man. AEW, this is a quote, has such an amazingly loyal and dedicated fan base that brings in more than 4 million viewers to TBS every Wednesday night. That is a crock of shit times 4. Plus, I mean, their average is around 900,000 viewers. Where are you getting 4 million viewers, guys? Now, Brandon Thurston at WrestleNomics jumped into this, man, and his people, or Brandon, one of the two, or all of them, reached out to Warner Media. And Brandon Thurston says the following: I'm told that the measurement pertains to viewers who watched at least 1 minute of TBS on Wednesday from 7 to 12 a.m. each week on average in 2022. A Warner Brothers Discovery spokesperson told WrestleNomics that we attribute most of that success to AEW Dynamite. Are you on how much is it snowing where you're at? Warner Discovery. What the flying fuck? You have they're going from, where do I begin? They're judging 4 million viewers every Wednesday, thanks to Dynamite. They're judging that based on 7 p.m. to 12 a.m. Guys, the lead into Dynamite is one of the most heavily watched rerun/replay lead-ins that you're ever going to find on cable television. It's called The Big Bang Theory. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not against it. I've never really watched it, to be honest with you. But even I know it is a massive success. And the replays garner massive viewership. They counted the fucking Big Bang Theory, even when they know that the Q1 to Q2, usually you see a drop. That's why I say it was an abnormality to a higher degree this week, because of the buzz of the big announcement. That's why every fucking Q, right through 5 or 6 Qs, was over a mil. Usually you don't see that. You see dips in the first 3 especially. That's because the Big Bang Theory audience is like, all right, changing the channel now, right? They took a piss, they made a sandwich, they came back, and they're like, what the fuck is this wrestling? And they turn away, right? The ratings show you that. They counted the whole fucking hour before, and then the 2 hours afterwards. And they said, on top of that, they said, if you just watched 1 minute during those 5 hours, we counted you. And so by doing that, they were allowed to put 4 million viewers is what Dynamite brings in every week. Wow, bro, are we moving those goalposts? Dynamite brings in 4 million viewers. How did you get to that number, sir? Well, we went from 7 to 12. We went an hour before, and we went 2 hours after Dynamite. And then we also said if you just watch 60 seconds. Well, fuck, where do you stop then? You might as well just go from 6 to 1 a.m., 6 p.m. to 1 a.m., add 2 more hours. And say if you've only watched 45 seconds of content, then you know what? AEW brings in 7 million viewers every Wednesday. Might as well say it. Why would you possibly stop at 60 seconds? 7 to 12. I mean, they're just moving the goalposts wherever they want, bro. Could you imagine showing up to an NFL game and the kicker's ready to start practicing his kicks before the game, and he's fucking, and the goalpost, one of them is to the fucking far, one of the goalposts is in the stands. The other one is to the far left of the end zone. It's like, who did this? The maintenance fucking workers come out. They're like, we did. We thought it would be cool to have one of the goalposts in section 300. That would be kind of fun when you kick it. They just moved it to wherever they wanted so they could say 4 million viewers, and they thought we weren't going to notice. We honestly thought that when somebody reached out like a Brandon Thurston's WrestleNomics, thank you guys as well for doing that. WrestleNomics is a great bunch. As a numbers channel, a numbers guy like BC, they make it so simplistic for me to explain to my audience how numbers work. And man, for them to reach out and ask them, like, dude, you I think you either did a typo, or you might want to take that back a little bit, replace that with something a little bit more accurate. No, they doubled down, and they were like, no. We're going to keep the $4 million. This is how he did it, just for clarification. I'm mind-boggled at the network. I'm mind-boggled at AEW and the way they do business, to be honest with you. It is so awkward. They just embellish everything. I've learned that with like AEW and Warner Discovery. I've learned that whatever they say, drop it down about 7 notches, and you not just won't be disappointed, but you won't be shocked when the truth actually fucking surfaces. You know what I mean? You won't be too shocked because you have already taken it down 7 notches, right? It's like a fucking toddler telling their parents something, like a story. You know that they're embellishing times fucking 7 at least. Drop it down 7 notches. There's some truth in their story. You gotta kind of fish it out. My name's BC Amplified. This is what I got for you guys. We'll talk all about SmackDown. Maybe we can do something later today, or maybe even a live stream. We'll see. Stay subbed and notified, obviously. Make sure you smash that up on the way out. If you didn't already on the way in, algorithm could use the help. Tube's all over the place lately. They don't want to push BC's content or put it out to you guys, so you guys can help out. Smash that up. And SmackDown, like I said, maybe we could do something later on for that. If not, either way, you guys are going to get a full amplified review of SmackDown over the next 24 hours. I might have something special planned Sunday as well. Bottom line is a lot more content still coming up. Top guy, I'm out. Think, be, live, amped. Always, BC, saying check you. Salute.